everybody, and welcome to a special holiday edition of Boobies and Newbies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and today's romance review marks the premiere episode in Boobies and Newbies' 5th annual holiday special, The 12 Days of Boobsmas. If you are new to this podcast or the wonderful world of reading romance, boy, are you in for a treat. Because all December long, we are talking holiday hookups with billionaires, Christmas tree farms in trouble, and a merry menorah or two. Plus, it wouldn't be the 12 Days of Boobsmas without at least one Christmas alien romance. Am I right? So deck the halls and jingle the balls because Santa's coming to town, and this year he's delivering 12 holiday-themed romances, 12 mini podcasts, and 12 giveaways right here on Boobies and Newbies. Be sure to keep up with us across our social media for any upcoming Boobsmas giveaway news and opportunities at Boobies Podcast across the channels, except on TikTok where you will find me at Real Kelly Ray. Plus, join me and a guest live on Instagram every Friday evening in December where I'll be announcing the next batch of giveaway winners, the first of which is happening tomorrow, December 2nd. So I hope to see you there. Now, Boobsmas episodes will be dropping all month long, but if you need something to keep you company in between, you can always catch up on previous episodes of Boobies and Newbies by listening on your favorite podcast app or on our website, boobiesandnewbies.com. In addition to this year's Boobsmas reads, I'd also like to take a moment to plug my own holiday novella, Meet Me in Los Feliz, which is available now. So grab yourself a copy, either ebook or paperback, and maybe an extra one for the romance reader in your life. Last but not least, if you feel like sharing a little extra holiday cheer this winter season, please consider leaving this ho-ho-ho a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and supporting Boobies and Newbies on Patreon. You will find links for all of the above in today's show notes. But now, on to today's Boobsmas festivities. Joining me today is a longtime romance reader, but first-time podcast guest, Kate Wilhite. Welcome, Kate.
Hi, Kelly.
Hello. So delightful to have you here. And I have to say, I think one of my favorite things is discovering like old friends on the internet by way of romance. People that I never would have necessarily knew were romance readers like myself. So that was such a treat to find out that you're a romance reader like me.
That is pretty much all I read and has been for the last 4 or 5 years. Happy endings are necessary.
Yeah, especially in these trying times. I agree.
Absolutely.
So do you remember what it is that really got you into romance reading?
It was after I had my kid, who is 5 now, and I was dealing with postpartum anxiety and depression, which is a lot, and I wasn't reading a whole lot. So I needed something fun and I needed something happy, and romance fit the bill, and something clicked, and that's most of what I've been reading for the past few years, with other things popping in once in a while, but mostly just romance. It's more fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. It's always funny to talk to people who are maybe not as much of a romance reader and how a romance might be like their palate cleanser, so to speak.
Right.
And for me, romance is my go-to. So like my palate cleanser is like a gruesome mystery or a memoir.
Yeah, mine would be YA fantasy. That's where I turn to mostly otherwise.
Also good. And I feel like a lot of those also usually have a little bit of romance in them too.
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes to reading romance, do you have any favorite tropes or anything that honestly you can't stand, like other tropes or subgenres that just don't work for you?
I will read pretty much anything, and I do mean anything. I will always gravitate towards grumpy sunshine as a trope. I don't care which partner is which, because there's just something about it that's delightful, and it usually is paired with enemies or rivals to lovers, and that's always a fun dynamic. I'm not a huge fan of second chance romance, but I will try it if the right person recommends it, or if it's an author I know I already like.
That's so funny though, because like I feel like both of those tropes are very holiday centric. Like you will find a lot of holiday romance with grumpy sunshine, obviously, because there's usually like the Grinch, so to speak, character, which actually plays in well with the book that we're talking about, but also the second chance romance, I think, comes up in a lot of holiday romance too, because there's a lot of people going home for the holidays and having like that second chance with maybe somebody from the past. It always reminds me of kind of like the ghosts from a Christmas Carol, like, the ghosts of your past. So yeah, it's so funny that those are like two that are so common, I think, in a lot of holiday romance.
I think you're right. And I do really like maybe high school or childhood friends, and they reconnect after a long time away. That's always really fun. That's a trope I love. If it was a relationship that ended badly, sometimes that's hard to get into.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
For the right book, I'll read pretty much anything, because there's always if there's a trope you can't stand, there's always somebody out there who does it really well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I say the same thing about the two that are usually the ones that I avoid with a 39.5-foot pole to keep it Christmassy, are Amnesia and Secret Baby. Those are like the two that I just generally don't fuck with, but at the same time,
that's fair.
I'm not saying I will never read a Secret Baby or I will never read an Amnesia romance. Like, if somebody gives me one and is like, Kelly, this is the one you have to read, or if it comes from an author that I have loved everything else that they've written, maybe I will give it a go, but never say never.
Yeah, I don't think I've read I've read maybe one Amnesia romance. You don't see them a lot, I don't think.
It's because it's creepy.
It was like I want to say it was Mary Balog. It was a historical, and he could not remember who he was, but the female main character pretended he was her long lost husband or whatever.
Yeah.
And then of course he remembered who he was, and they fell in love. But
that's like generally I think I talk about it a lot in terms of like the movie Overboard, where it's like he basically like takes advantage of the fact that she doesn't remember who she is and like creates who she is and like uses it to his own advantage. Like, I think I've just read like the Amnesia romance that I have read has all kind of fed into that narrative. And so even I know on Hallmark, they'll do a lot of like holiday movies, and every once in a while there's an Amnesia one where it's like somebody fell and hit their head in the snow and now they don't know. And I'm okay with it if like they're trying to help you find who you are, but if they
that's nice. Yeah.
But if they know,
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, it's not I don't think that's a trope I would gravitate towards either, but if somebody shows it to me and is like, this is so great, sure, why not? I'll try it.
Well, there you go.
I do think Secret Baby can be fun, though.
I do too. I'm not going to say that I'm saying no to it forever. And that's the thing is like, there isn't a trope out there that I will not give a chance to. I will 100% read just about anything with you. And the way my mind works is I'm like, oh, great. Now we need to put all these together. And I'm like, okay, where's the Amnesia Christmas romance that happens to also have a secret baby? Like, I would read it.
Either that exists as a book or that exists as a Lifetime or Hallmark movie. Yeah. Like that has to be somewhere.
It's out there. It's out there. And if it's not, we're going to manifest it and it will be out there by this time next year.
Honestly, that would be a really entertaining movie. So,
maybe by Boobsmas 2023, we will reconvene and have this movie and or book to discuss. But in the meantime, the holidays are upon us. And of course, I want to know, what's your favorite holiday tradition or memory?
I think ever since I was a kid, my family's tradition on Christmas Eve is making gingerbread houses.
Oh.
And I'm pretty sure it started as a way to keep me and my brother busy until it was bedtime. So we did not wear my parents out.
Sure.
But it just grew into a thing we always did. And it's so lovely. And now we've continued that with my kid. And it's a really fun thing.
That's something I was going to ask as well as like a follow-up is, now that you're a parent yourself, are there any traditions that you've carried over? And obviously the answer is yes. And are there any traditions that you guys have started creating as like your own family?
I'm trying to think and I'm drawing a blank. We definitely make gingerbread houses when we are home or at my mom's. That's always very special and I like it. We give new pajamas and a book on Christmas Eve.
Love.
Is a tradition that we've started. And that's been really fun, especially as he's gotten older and he's had a more pronounced taste in books. That's a very fun thing.
I love when kids start to have like their own personalities. Like, I mean, because I have a
Hmm.
lot of friends who are more in the baby stage right now. And so they're still young enough
Right.
where they haven't necessarily like developed their own personalities yet and their own tastes. And so as they're heading into like the toddler years and everything, it's been really fun. I love getting to buy like gifts for the kiddos, like because
Oh
they
yeah.
get really into. I have a cousin whose son is very into like trucks and dump trucks and like any kind of like vehicles. Like he will get distracted if they try to take a photo outside because he sees an airplane. Like he gets so excited to just see like an airplane in the air. So like I love buying him like little trucks and stuff like that. So
It's great.
it's really fun to like see them develop their own personalities.
Totally. And I think trucks are universal for small children.
Yeah.
Every trucks are just exciting.
And animals. I find trucks and animals.
Yes, totally.
I love it. Well, okay, to kick things off, and I will go ahead and introduce today's reading, which is Win a Date with a Secret Santa by Kate Tilney. This is a bite-sized Christmas novella, and I do mean bite-sized, like a sit and one read in an hour kind of bite-sized. Was
Yes.
And this one was published in October 2022. It's available on Amazon for free if you have Kindle Unlimited. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I think this is so cute. This book is one of 12 in Kate Tilney's The Curvy Girls Bachelor Auction Collection, which is a standalone series of short insta-love romances all about curvy women who bid on hunky bachelors to raise money for a good cause, but end up finding so much more. And she's been releasing one a month all of 2022. This is the one Christmassy related one. However, if you're into the bachelor auction trope in romance, if you're into reading about curvy gals and hunky bachelors, this might be a series of short reads that you want to check out. So something to keep in mind. But before we talk about the book, Kate, I did want to play a quick little game, and I am calling this game Tit or Tat because I am nothing if not on brand. So really, this is,
I appreciate it.
you know,
I appreciate the puns.
yeah. I wouldn't be me if there weren't puns somewhere in this episode or this series in general. So this is really just a this or that would you rather, but I have selected items, things, places, people, all of which you can find in Win a Date with a Secret Santa. So I'm going to ask you which one you would prefer. You let me know. Feel free to reason as much as you'd like. If you
Okay.
this could be rapid fire, or this can be you're writing a thesis and you need to tell me why you selected this thing. Totally up to you. So we'll kick things off with maybe a simpler one, and that is hot cocoa or mulled wine.
Definitely hot cocoa for me.
Yeah, I'm a hot cocoa person too. I do get the
Yeah.
appeal of mulled wine, but I love cocoa.
I am more into mulled cider than mulled wine.
Mm.
Mulled wine is just, I'm not a huge fan of red wine as it is,
Hmm.
so it's a little too much. But hot cocoa is always a good idea.
I agree. Year round, not even at Christmas.
Absolutely.
Now, this one alludes a little bit more to the character's name, but I had to fit it in there somewhere. So it's Fraser fir or Douglas fir.
I have to tell you, I've had a fake Christmas tree for so long that I don't remember the difference. I think Douglas fir. I think that's what we got when I was a kid.
Yeah, and honestly, I think one of them is where they're like the branches are more close together, and then one of them there's like more spaces, but do I know which one is which? Not really.
I think Douglas firs were the ones that my family used to always get, but my
Okay.
husband's allergic to Christmas trees, so we've had a plastic one for a long time.
Oh my God, I did not know that about him. That is, I mean, it's very sad, but it's also very funny.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. We have it's a good fig tree, and it lasts every year, and we don't have to think about getting a new one, which is always nice.
Can we talk about how that would be like the perfect reason for like a character to be a Grinch in a holiday romance is like, well, I'm allergic to Christmas trees. And honestly, I
Totally.
don't think I've read that. I don't think I have read that.
I don't think I have either.
Okay.
That would be an excellent reason.
Taking a note. Taking a note for a future holiday romance.
There you go.
Okay, there are a ton of holiday movies and references made in this very short story. So, of course, I've got a couple of them for you to choose from, starting with Elf or Miracle on 34th Street.
I don't know that I've seen Miracle on 34th Street, so I'm going to have to go with Elf.
Okay, I definitely recommend watching Miracle on 34th Street, and there's a few different versions. There's the one with the girl from Matilda that was like in the 90s, and then there's like the OG version, black and white, with I think it's Natalie Wood who plays the little girl, and it's just, I mean, that tells you how old it is, but yeah, it's very charming. And then the second set is The Polar Express or A Christmas Carol. And you can pick your version of A Christmas Carol because, again, I know there's like 8,000.
Yeah, I was going to say Muppet Christmas Carol all the way. Although I do like The Polar Express, but Muppet Christmas Carol is pretty great.
I feel like the Muppet Christmas Carol is the one that people most often use as their version of A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Like that's the iteration of it that they love. And maybe it's because that's like what we grew up with, you know, as millennials. So I don't know. But I also, there's a bunch of like the older ones that I do enjoy too.
Yeah, I think the Muppets do a really good job of like telling the original story and making it interesting too, which I think is pretty great.
Yeah. Okay. How about, I feel like I already know the answer to this one, but how about box seats at the theater or courtside seats at a basketball game?
Oh, definitely the theater.
Yeah. I mean, your husband was a theater major, so there's like no way around it. A hot billionaire in a suit or a hot billionaire dressed as Santa?
Oh, I'm going to have to say the suit.
Okay. You like it classy, pinstripe, slick.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a suit there. It's classic for a reason.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, a good suit goes a long way. So, okay, now this one might be a toughie because it's really a 3-parter because I just couldn't decide. So we're going with sex on a train, sex with Santa, or sex on a train with Santa.
Okay, I don't object to Santa romances, but I don't know if I want that for my real life. So I'm just going to have to say on a train.
But this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Kate.
That's fair, but also I have a small child who believes in Santa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that kind of ruins it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I worked at Disney for a long time too, and I worked with Santa a number of times. So I think it's just too close.
I think that's a fair point to bring up though, because I think depending on if you have kids and at what age range your kids are, I think this could affect your answer. Because like to me, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, the Santas that I've read about in romance, I'm like, bring it on. Like, let's do it. But
like, I definitely have no objection to reading Santa romance. It can be really fun, but like, I'm not sure that I would want that for real life, and that's okay.
I will say too, like if I did have my shot, if I got to shoot my shot with Santa, I don't think I would do it on a train. Like, I feel like I would be like, well, take me up in your sleigh or like take me to the North Pole. Like, I feel like there's just so many options that I'm like, this is the best you could do, a train? Like, come on.
I think, I agree. I think there are a lot of better options. A train might be bumpy.
Yeah. Although I do like the train that's in this book because it's like one of those super holiday-ish, like Polar Express like trains. And if you're gonna do it on a train, that's the train to do it on.
That's a pretty good one to do it on, yeah.
Well, perfect. Excellent job. I feel like we both know so much more about each other at this point. And I will go ahead then and give everybody a quick synopsis for Win a Date with a Secret Santa, and then we will dive into our discussion. So here we go. A fun-loving, curvy woman wins a date with a grumpy Grinch, only to discover his heart is so much bigger than she could have ever imagined, just in time for Christmas. Okay, I feel like there was a missed opportunity there, like, about his heart being so much bigger. I'm like, I feel like it could have been like a little more wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like his heart and his candy cane is so much bigger.
I think you're right about that. I think there was an opportunity for innuendo that was missed there.
Yeah, but that's okay, because get ready. Take a shot every time you hear a Christmas reference in this synopsis. So here we go with the rest of it. What could be more fun than going on a Polar Express-like train ride with a toy maker at Christmas? Apparently, everything. While Fraser Douglas, that's his name, may be in the business of creating toys that bring joy to children worldwide, the man himself is clearly a big grump. No problem. I'm not looking for a love connection when I bid on a date with him at a charity bachelor auction. I just want to get the free toy that comes along with him. And just to be clear, this is like an actual toy, not like a sexy kind of toy. Don't get too excited. A toy that just so happens to be at the top of my niece's Christmas wish list, but is sold out at every store. Neither Fraser nor I know what to expect when we go on our date, but as we spend hours together on board a magical train, it becomes harder to deny the spell that seems to be cast around us. I may just discover that under his grumpy exterior, he has a heart of gold. You see, again, I'm like, where's the his heart grew 3 inches, or what was it, like 3 times that size that day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Missed opportunity, but that's okay. We'll let that one go. And I'll turn it over to you and just ask overall, what did you think?
I thought it was so sweet. You're right. It's a perfect book for like reading with a cup of coffee, which is what I did yesterday. And it was fun. It was funny, and it was extremely, extremely cute, but also very sexy. It was a good balance of everything in a very small package.
Yeah, for a book that comes in at 59 pages as far as like the Kindle version goes, and I will say it is listed in like the top 100 as far as like 90-minute romance short reads go.
Totally.
I was surprised like how much they packed in to like such a short story, like and that goes for not only just like the steamy bits, but I feel like there was also some like really good character development and, a good relationship arc for these two characters.
Right.
So I was pleasantly surprised, and I really did enjoy it. I think it's such a great way to get into the holiday season. And like you said, even if it's just over like a cup of coffee, I know not everybody has time to devote towards reading a full-length novel in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I will say I have discovered that one of the like micro tropes that I am trash for is I do love a good auction. I love a good like bachelor bachelorette auction. Like I don't know what it is about it because it's weird. I'm like, it's like you're buying a person. This is very odd, but I don't know. I really do enjoy them, especially when it's women bidding on men. And I think it's funny that like in the synopsis, they paint him out to be this like super grumpy guy. Cause like there's at no point is he really like grumpy or like he's definitely not a Grinch because he makes toys for a living. He donates like toys and so much of his time towards like giving back to kids. So yeah, don't let the in fact even the like subtitle for the book is a grumpy sunshine romance, and I'm like, he is not grumpy in any way. He's just busy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the lightest shade of grump possible. She's total sunshine though.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And so she does win her date with Fraser, which I'm like, okay, Fraser Douglas, there's your, I will say I'll give Kate Tilney extra points for this one because I'm sure you've read this in holiday romance too, but I find that most of them are packed with characters named Nick, Mary, Noelle. I mean, I've read Christmas. Like, I mean, there's just, it's a lot of, Holly. We can't forget Holly.
Of course.
And, but I don't know if I'd actually ever read one where it's like he's clearly named after Christmas trees, like Fraser Douglas.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a nice spin.
Yeah, it was cute. And honestly, I didn't even clock it till halfway through the book. And then I realized, oh, that's right. Of course, Christmas trees.
Yeah. So I thought that was a good, fun spin on that. I will say I have a couple of petty notes, one of which One of which, I mean, we all have our trigger words, right? In romance where we're like, everybody knows who listens to this podcast that I don't like the word folds. I accept this. Everyone has to accept this. I just don't like it. But this isn't even about that. There's a moment early on in the beginning where she talks about how when he's up on the stage, she's like, oh, he's really sexy and like he's making me tingle kind of thing. And she says that she has feelings brewing in her bathing suit zone. And I just...
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a grown-ass woman.
I've heard the phrase pants feelings before, and I'm fine with that, but bathing suit zone is that was a little much.
It was just weird. It sounded like something to me that I was like, this sounds like this would come out of like a, I don't know, like a 15-year-old's mouth, or not even, it sounds like it would come out of like a teacher's mouth, like a teacher who teaches like children to be like, oh, that's your bathing suit zone. Like it did not feel like something that a grown-ass woman would say. And it took me out of it for a moment, and that was only like 5 pages in.
That's fair. Some words just do that to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then my only other petty note, which I also think is kind of funny though, is the toy that she is like out to get, the toy that's like the toy of the season, which of course made me think of that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that's like, what is it, Jingle All the Way, where it's like they're trying to get that Christmas toy that like everybody wants. It's called the Pocket Partridge. And one, it sounds like a sex toy. Like it sounds...
You're not wrong
like
there.
Pocket Partridge. And so that was like immediate thought is Pocket Partridge sounds like a sex toy. Secondly, then I started imagining, I'm like, oh my God, if this was a sex toy, what would it look like? Like I want to know. But then it's not in the book. Like it's not. So I had to put those ideas away. And, but I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say that we never actually find out what this toy is.
I don't think so. I was wondering because like, okay, there's a lot of weird kids toys out there. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Some of them.
You would know better than I would.
I'm trying to remember that there's like, it's some kind of animal. It might be a flamingo or something, but it's a small animal that goes potty. Oh, it's a turtle. I'm sorry. It poops on a tiny toy toilet, and I don't understand. Why does that exist?
Why a turtle? Why?
That is, I'm going to find the name of it because so that you can see it later and be appropriately horrified. But it's something else. But I was really wondering what the toy did because there's so many weird toys out there.
Well, and that's what's so funny. It's funny because like it annoyed me, but I also found it hilarious that it's like you never actually find out what it is because like when she first mentions it, you know, she says, oh, I'm trying to get this pocket partridge. My niece is asking for it. You know, my niece and my sister have gone through a really rough time this year. So like, I want to make this happen. And she says, I don't know exactly what this toy is or what it does or what it looks like. And then later on, when Fraser is like, oh, I think you just like kind of used me to like get this toy and like, you know, are you going to sell it? What are you going to do? Why would you have use for it? He doesn't tell us what it is. So like, I don't think we ever genuinely find out what it is, which on the one hand, hilarious because I'm still left wondering. Sure. But on the other hand, I wanted to know.
I did too. And I did find the thing. There's a Little Live Pets Gotta Go Flamingo and Gotta Go Turtle.
Oh, like, yeah. I get it.
Yeah, I don't know why they exist, but you know, kids like weird toys. Yeah, I imagine the partridge is probably has to be something that talks. I was imagining like...
And it's a bird. It's got to be a bird, right?
Totally.
'Cause it's like pocket partridge.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I was picturing like maybe I don't even know, a tiny talking bird toy or like a little Tamagotchi type thing or something.
Ooh, yeah, it's a Tamagotchi, but it's like Christmas partridge Tamagotchi.
That would be cute.
That would be cute. We could also bring Tamagotchis back. I would be 100% okay with that.
I believe they are back.
Well, everything else in the 90s is, so that seems appropriate.
Yes, I believe they are back. I teach preschool. So I've not seen small children with them, but I've heard them talking about them.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring back the worst of the 90s and like early 2000s, like low-rise jeans and
Please
like
no.
it's like you might as well bring back Tamagotchis. Yeah, no, when I
Yeah,
heard the thing
Tamagotchis
about
were great.
low-rise jeans, I just about like lost my mind. I was like, that is not the style to bring back.
That's just not going to happen for me, and I'm okay with that. I will not let
Yeah.
go of high-rise jeans. They're more comfortable.
I mean, I'm not even a mom, and I am 100% in the mom jean
Absolutely.
phase of my life and loving every second of it.
They are more comfortable, and I find them more flattering on my body. So, you know.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, and then from there the story I think progresses really nicely. Like they trade emails back and forth, although she's not even really talking to him. She's talking to his assistant.
I know. I liked the assistant too, and I'm wondering if she'll pop up as a main character in one of the other Bachelor auction stories later on if they continue.
That would be fun because we know that if you read romance, you definitely see these supporting characters pop up that you want to see stories for in the future.
Exactly.
So I would not be upset about that. I also love that, oh my God, I already forgot. What's our main character's name again? Felicity.
Felicity, which is also very cute for a Christmas romance.
Felicity, like one of the things I liked about Felicity was that she definitely showed how sweet she was too. Like it's not just towards the romance, like it's
Right.
she wants to find, this toy for her niece, but then also even like she has this email correspondence with Fraser's assistant, and then she gives the woman a bottle of tequila because she's like,
I
oh
love
yeah,
that.
you probably are dealing with a lot during the holidays, like here you go, chug a lug. And I just was like, oh my God, this is so thoughtful of you. So yeah, I really liked her. And then when it came to Fraser, he was not a Grinch, like we said. And then you find out he dresses up as Santa to like give gifts away to kids on a holiday train. He's just a busy guy.
That was adorable, and I especially liked that it wasn't any kind of publicity stunt. It was
Yes.
just a family thing. There were no cameras at the actual event, and it was just very quiet and private, and I appreciated that it was so meaningful to him because of his grandfather. That's so lovely.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say I feel like there was a good backstory. Like, do we know every little thing about them from their childhood? No. Do we
No.
know what their past like relationship history has been? No. But we also don't need that for like such a short story. We see two characters who have like this instant connection. It is a little insta lovey or like insta attraction. However, I think an element of that is like kind of necessary for a story that's this short. And
Definitely.
in the end, it's not like they get married or, I mean, they do technically, but that's an epilogue. And I think that's kind of what I was expecting as well, is that this is probably going to end. We'll have a little bit of a time jump, and we do. We jump to a year in the future when they're married. They're handing out toys again to the kids, and not my favorite ending, but surprise, she's pregnant. Like, because we have to end with a baby.
Yeah, I know that I don't mind those endings, but I know that they are not popular among everybody, and I totally get it. But
Yeah.
I also expected it with that short of a story. You got to have the like punchiest HGA possible.
Yeah. And I especially expect it when it comes to like the holidays, like, because there's a reason we see so many people getting engaged around the holidays. There's a reason we see so many people, making announcements like that during the holidays. So like, I do get it. It's a time when like everyone's together. We want to celebrate all of like our blessings. And so I almost am surprised when I don't get a proposal or a baby like at the end of a holiday romance. So I kind of go into it with the expectation of it, and that's fine. It's fine. It's not my favorite, but it's fine.
I get that. It's not for everybody, and yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. It doesn't bother me, but it's nice to see alternative endings also.
Yeah, and that's all I want.
This one was perfect for this.
I agree. And then we have to talk a little bit about the sexy times, because I feel like that was, I mean, I was appreciative of how hot it got on the train between her and him dressed as Santa. And I thought it was really funny because
Mm-hmm.
really the only times we see them like hook up or make out in any way, he's dressed as Santa.
I think you're right.
Because
Sure, why not?
they have like a little kind of kiss moment at the end when he shows up with like the gifts at her family's Christmas, and he's also dressed as Santa. And then on the train they make out when he's about to go out and give out presents to the kids, and then when he gets back, then they have sex. And I'm just like, okay, so is it him or is it Santa?
Maybe a little of both there.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. A little bit of both is fine. But did you have a specific sexcerpt, if you will, that you wanted to share with everybody?
I really appreciated in chapter 6, on one page, I think she says, "I know it isn't Christmas yet." She bats her eyes at me, "but I hope you don't mind if I open this present early." And that, I believe she meant his pants, which is pretty great. And then on the very next page, from Fraser's point of view, it says, "I sigh in appreciation, nuzzling the apex of her thighs. I glance up at her. I'm not good at waiting for treats either." I like that parallel. That's fun.
I also like to, like, if you're going to put in like a little bit of like holiday cheesiness, which I think is like a cheesiness most of us get on board with when it comes to the holidays. Like we have, I just finished reading another holiday romance where like every time he sees her, she's wearing a different like punny shirt, and it'll be like a gingerbread man, and it says like, "Let's get baked," and we're gonna get lit, and it's a Christmas tree. And so I like when they also add in those cheesy holiday moments into the sexy scenes too, because
Yeah, it's
why
fun.
not? Why not? Like, just keep it going throughout the whole story.
And it was fun, and it didn't pull you out of the story at all. It was just, it made perfect sense for them as a couple and for the story as a whole. It was really cute.
Yeah. I highlighted a little section, same chapter, because it is really the one chapter where there is a sex scene.
Right.
But I highlighted it a little bit earlier because I like that she kind of like is the one running the show. Like she pushes him up against the train car. She like grips his lapels of his Santa coat. So I have a little moment too where she's kind of telling him what to do. So we'll go from here. I glide my other hand down her back, pulling her closer to me. I savor the feel of her full breasts pressed against my chest, the feel of my throbbing cock pressed against her soft belly. Moving my hand lower, I grab hold of her ass and tug her closer. I grind my cock against her, and she gasps into my mouth. Felicity tears her mouth away and pulls back. I reach for her in protest, but she shakes her head. "You stay right here." She runs her teeth over her bottom lip, eyeing me hungrily like I'm the cup of cocoa she lapped up earlier. Gripping my wrists, she pushes them behind my back. And no touching. And I liked that. I liked that. I always like to see the woman take control, which I think is great. And I love that he's also so into, watching her do it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty hot.
Yeah, that was great. The billionaire trope, usually he's like the one in control all the time. So it was nice to see that flipped a little bit. And I loved how enthusiastic he was about it.
Yeah. And she's about to lap him up like Coco. And then some. Well, anything left to say about this book? Otherwise, we will head into our ratings.
I thought it was a fun book. It was very sweet, and I think I'm definitely going to keep the rest of the series in mind for a future reading slump. I feel like this would make a really great slump breaker.
Yeah, especially at 59-ish pages per story. Like that's the perfect in between.
It is a great Christmas cookie of a book.
Oh, and there's the endorsement every book needs. So I love that. I love it. Well, okay, we are going to be rating this book, and we on Boobies and Newbies rate for heart, humor, and heat on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the very best that it could possibly be for you, of course. And because it is the season, I've added an extra rating for holiday. So 4H on Boobies and Newbies. So let's start with heart. What do you think?
I want to say this book is about an 8. I think it had a lot
Mhm.
of heart, and the feelings, especially the different family connections, like his to his grandfather and hers to her sister, and then the connection they had to each other. I thought that was really nice. It did have a lot of heart for such a short book.
Yeah, like I said, I was really surprised by how much got packed in there. And I like that we get to see
Mhm.
a little bit of her family, a little bit of his family.
Right.
And I especially love that she even has, like, this little connection with his assistant. Like, I mean, I just feel
Yeah.
like there were a lot of examples of heart in addition to the romance. So I'm with you. I gave it like an 8.5, like, which
Mhm.
I think for
Absolutely.
a story this short is pretty great. How about the humor?
I don't know if I'd say it was the funniest book I've read, but it was
Hmm.
funny, and it was light.
Yeah.
This one's probably maybe about a 7. I
Okay.
don't think it was going for full on humor,
Yeah.
but it was definitely more towards the rom-com end of a book.
Yeah. I think you're definitely a generous grader because I'm probably going to give it about a 5.
I think that's fair.
And not that it was angsty or, tumultuous in any way, but
Right.
and you're right, there were really cute moments. There were a few moments that I could like envision as like the cinematic version as being like, "Oh, this is so silly."
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's kind of like halfway to rom-com but not laugh out loud.
Definitely.
Fair enough. How about heat? What do we think? How did the heat pack a punch?
It really did. I was impressed.
Good.
I don't know, ratings are hard.
Well, and I think it comes down to like your personal heat scale too. Like, because I feel like I've
Right.
developed one for boobies and newbies, so I have to stick to it. But
That's fair.
everybody has their own like steam scale.
I think it doesn't shy away from like the descriptions, which I thought was
Hmm.
nice. I think probably I would give it somewhere around a 6, 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because of the scale that I've developed for boobies and newbies, I kind of, if there's an open door sex scene, at least one, I
Mhm.
start it at a 5 and just kind of like work my way up from there.
That's
And
fair.
that's pretty much we get one open door sex scene in this story and like a
Mhm.
few more steamy kisses. So I might knock it up to a 6, but
Right.
I think that kind of goes over again what I had anticipated. So
Right.
color me happy. And then how about holiday, our final ranking?
Honestly, this is a 10 for holiday. Everything was focused in that, and it was great.
Yeah, I agree. It's a 10. It makes me think about, I know I argue about this with people all the time when it comes to like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? And for me, it all comes down to, would the story exist without Christmas? Like,
Right.
would this be the same story? And I don't think this one would be. I think you do
Mm-mm.
need Christmas in the context of this story for it to be the story that it is. So, yeah, I'm with you. I give it a 10 because I really do think
Yeah,
this is the holidays right here, baby.
absolutely. The holidays and especially Christmas are integral to this book, and it would be I think it would be a fine story without it, but it wouldn't pack the same
Yeah.
punch as it does now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go book a ticket on a Polar Express train
Oh,
like
totally.
and they were going to Portland too. They were going from Seattle to Portland and all I could
I
think was where's
know.
this train ride?
What's funny is I keep getting advertisements on Facebook for Christmas train rides along the Oregon coast.
Okay.
And so I was wondering, is this one of those? No, because it starts in Seattle, but still.
Yeah, and I know that they do them like I've been on one in the Los Angeles area, but it was fun. It wasn't nearly as Christmassy as I thought it was going to be. And I know
Mhm.
that they do some up here in the Pacific Northwest, but they're usually
Right.
closer to like the snowy mountainous towns
Mhm.
and that's like hard to get to on its own. So
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know. Maybe someday in the near future we can
Mhm.
all have our own Polar Express rides.
I know. It sounds like a lot of fun.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for kicking off the 12 days of Boobsmas with me in this book.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Do you have more holiday romance reading in the near future planned?
Definitely. I am going to read your book because like I said, I've been waiting till it was closer to Christmas. Because it seemed perfect for that. I just finished The Holiday Trap by Roan Parrish, which was a really
Oh,
cute, queer take on the movie The Holiday. That
Yes.
was really fun. I don't know. I like a holiday romance. I'm gonna have to do a little more looking. I did already read A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and
Mm-hmm.
Sierra Simone, and that is just excellent.
Yeah, I agree. I've read all of those and I've written one of them. But
Hmm.
I will say Roan Parrish has at least one more holiday romance because
Hmm.
we reviewed it, I want to say actually for the first day of Boobsmas last year.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's called The Lights on Knockbridge Lane, and it's a male-male romance set during the holidays, and it
Hmm.
was so cute, and I felt like such a great way to start the Boobsmas season. So,
Oh, that's
yeah, if you
lovely.
like Roan's writing, I think you would enjoy that.
I will have to put that on my list. Yeah, I really enjoyed the holiday truck. That was a fun one, and that's one of my favorite movies. So it was fun to
Yeah.
see a different take on it.
Nice. Okay. Well, again, we are just getting started with the 12 Days of Boobsmas. Hopefully, everybody listening will be stocking up their Kindle full of holiday romances because there is a lot more to come. It's continuing all month long, so stay tuned for more. Now, without further delay and in keeping with tradition, I give you the 12 Days of Boobsmas, composed by former guest of the pod, the incomparable Cooper Baldwin. On the first day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me
A
a
hot
hot
hookup
hookup
underneath
underneath
the
the
tree.
tree. Merry Boobsmas, everybody, and to all a good night.
On the first day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me a hot hookup